Hello again, guys and girls of the Gears of War community. My name is Chrissy, and I'm here to bring you another Gears of War 3 gameplay commentary. Now, today I wanted to talk about a few things that have been speculated about Judgment. Now, as far as I know, these aspects have not been confirmed by any of the staff of Epic Games or People Can Fly, so I'm not sure if these are facts yet. But I wanted to talk about the fact that the possibility that there might be no stopping power and there might be no active reload booster damage, whatever it's called, active reload booster in Gears of War Judgment, because recently or not too recently, but they brought out Zeta originally, and they started playing around with the settings and things, and they buffed up the Lancer, they got rid of stopping power, they got rid of actives, and things like that. And it was always known to be a kind of test scenario. It was always known to be this kind of game, I don't know what to call it anymore, this kind of game mode that was always going to be a test bed for the things that they could eventually land on doing for general public games in Gears. And the thing about this was, they never actually introduced it into Gears of War 3. They never actually sat back and said, right, we've tested it long enough, we're actually going to do it. So everyone was sitting there going, well, if you're testing it for Gears of War 3, or if you're testing it but not implementing it, what's the point? And now we know that the point might have been just to stick it into Gears of War Judgment. Now, this is an interesting scenario because most of this was originally driven by competitive players, most of all, because stopping power, or at least in my case, doesn't really affect me that much in public games. I don't get crossed that much. I don't get kids just sitting back lancering me over and over. I don't get things like that. So in competitive Gears, you'll find people using their Lancers a lot more than they do with their Nashes, because with their Lancers they can just down people easily and it stops people from pushing. Now, the strange thing about this is it was obviously, because of this, it was pushed by the competitive community. But what the competitive community want, or at least what I believe they wanted, was just for a toggle switch, because you need to really test something properly before you sit back and say, yeah, I want this, because people don't realise what the game might be like if you just got rid of stopping power and things like that, because it's not like Gears of War 1, it's not like Gears of War 2, things are better than ever now, things work better than ever. The Nasher has the ability to kill people 9 times out of 10 if you point blank them in the face. As much as people like to think that it's sponging, I usually think that when someone calls out sponge when they point blank someone in the face, I usually sit back and say, yeah, no, you probably missed about 3 or 4 pellets. So they didn't really sponge it, but still, the other thing is, like, what people don't realise is just because stopping power getting rid of stopping power will stop one problem, it will stop people from sitting back and just lancering and doing things like strafing. It will introduce another problem, because what happens when everybody in the game or there's no impact to stop people from charging you with a Nasher and just steam training people? Because, yeah, well done, we've gotten rid of, or they claim to have gotten rid of the sword off, but still at the same time, just because they gotten rid of it with the sword off doesn't mean that it's not still, you still can't do it with the Nasher. People do it all the time. It's called steam training, or it's what most of the pro community call it. They just call it steam training because that's all you're doing. You're going like a train directly at someone in order to one-bomb them. And yes, that's what people do with the sword off, but it's also what people do with the Nasher. And a lot of the time when I see someone doing that to me, I'm just like, Lancer out, yeah, keep trying, buddy. And it's interesting because it's if you have a Lancer, you can stop people from doing that 9 times out of 10. Because if they want to steam train you, they've got to get past your active Lancer and the stopping power and all things like that. But if you take that out of the I don't know, if you take that out of the ability of people to do, then that allows people to just steam train a hell of a lot more. And while another thing is, just quick mention, that you can literally try out this idea of Gears of War, because Gears of War Judgment is likely to be very similar to Gears of War 3. So they've introduced this game mode called, literally just today, they've merged Alpha and Zeta to become this other game mode called Old School Mode, and you can literally try that out now. You can try out what it's like, and it's very interesting to say the least. I don't think it's quite as intense to me, to be honest. I don't think it's quite got that factor of, oh my god, does he have a Lancer? You know, I like to think about things like that. I like having the ability of saying, oh right, I've got to think about killing this guy instead of going in for an Asher fight once again. But that was that with all aside, I have played that game mode once or twice, and I do have the ability to steam train people when they're lancering me, even if they do get perfect shots in. If you're close enough to get towards that person within about 2 or 3 seconds, which is quite a long way away, you know. 2 or 3 seconds is something like from the bottom of Boomshot Spawn on Old Town to like almost to the other side. So you can steam train people from quite a way away, even if they're hitting decent enough shots. Only if they're hitting perfect shots in the head will they usually get you down before you manage to hit them. But that's the thing. It's quite interesting to think about. Now, the other thing is, they said they're getting rid of active damage. I'm not sure if I agree with that. I like the fact that you have actives. I mean, a lot of people call me an active whore and things like that when I go into public games and get actives before I go into a fight. And I think, well, no, it's almost like an art form getting actives. First off, you have to hit it. I mean, it's not that hard, but second off, you have to make sure you have the active in the actual fight. So it's not just pre-activating, maybe it's keeping your gun empty until you get into a fight and then activating, rather than just simply pre-activating. But things like that, I think actives add a whole new level of depth to the game that if you take out will make it a little bit more dull and things like that, and that's what I don't want this game to be like. I don't want Judgment to be, in my form, boring. I don't like the fact that you never have to worry about a Lancer again because you can always steam train them. And I don't like the fact that you have to never worry about Guy having an active on his Nasher and things like that. But, anyway, thank you for watching, guys. If you liked the gameplay, please give it a like. If you enjoyed that much, then please subscribe for more content. Thank you and goodbye.